Ever since I became famous, I have been struggling not to cheat on my wife.
Same.
First off, I'm not super famous like Justin Bieber or
Oh,
anything like
okay.
that.
Just famous like Simply Nailogical.
But I have a few 100,000 followers on Twitter, several million views on YouTube, and a very respectable amount of money in the bank.
Who is this? I want to call them out.
It's Ninja. My wife and I have been together for 7 years, married for 2, and I may be fudging the numbers a little for the sake of privacy. I've always been a relationship guy, and I've never had much of an interest in casual sex. Before I had fame or fortune, I never thought about cheating at all, but then again, it's easy not to cheat when no one wants to have sex with you. Okay. Now when I go and do a show, or sometimes when I'm just walking down the street, there's girls giving me their numbers and groping me. Sure. It's difficult because as much as my head says no, there's another part of me that is screaming yes. I'll get home after working hard and having lots of girls flirt with me just to have my wife say that she's too tired. I know that I don't deserve any points for not cheating on my wife, but she just doesn't understand how hard it can be sometimes. I couldn't talk to her about this without upsetting her or making her feel inadequate. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't want to cheat on her. It's just difficult to go from having to work incredibly hard to get a woman to having them throw themselves at you. I'm not really looking for anything here. It's just frustrating sometimes.
It's just so hard, Ben. It's just
What a confession. I'm just such
it's
an
just
attractive
you're
man.
so oppressed.
Women are throwing
You
themselves at
just
me
can't
everywhere I
dedicate
go.
yourself to the person that you promised that you would dedicate yourself to because there's just so much temptation. What is a man to do? What is a man to do?
Well, it makes me think he's only with his wife because he didn't have other options. That's not really fair to her either, right? So if you actually feel this way,
Yeah, but is he looking for other options for a partner, or is he just like, hey, I'm famous, I can fuck whoever I want, this is fun? There's
Famous.
a difference.
the guy's got like a Twitter following and he
Yeah.
thinks he's famous.
Buddy, you're not famous. The reality check. But
Yeah.
everyone with a Twitter following thinks they're famous. But anyways.
Is there, I don't know. What else do we say about this one?
I mean, I think this guy is just clearly a jerk. However, if we want to give, real advice here, person who is famous and listening or not listening, is like, if you don't want to be with your wife and you want to be with other people, multiple people, because they throw themselves at you, then tell your wife that you want a divorce. And then you can go live that other life.
Or you want an open relationship and then they get to choose whether they're okay
Yeah,
with
but you
that,
can't
I guess,
decide
right?
you want an open relationship for both people.
Well, no, but someone has to be the one to bring it up if
Sure.
that's
So
something
you're allowed to say that you would like to do that, but your wife is equally allowed to say that's unacceptable to me. I don't want to be with you. And if that's the outcome that you're okay with, then that's fine. But I kind of like the subtext that we're not hearing is that he doesn't want to leave his wife. Yeah. He wants both. It's so hard. It's so hard not to cheat on, your loyal partner because all of a sudden you've discovered fame and, that fame can be fleeting too. And then what's left? So I don't know. I mean, it's all how you want to run your life. I really don't care if this person decides to tell their wife that they just want to live a different life. But you have to be honest with that and expect that your partner is going to be hurt. And clearly they're trying to hide it from their partner by saying, I don't want to bring it up to her because she's just not going to understand what it's like to be famous and have people throwing themselves at you. Like,
Well, say, I want, like, you hear about, like, athletes or, celebrities maybe. I don't think it's that abnormal for people, like, once they become super successful to maybe not stick with the person they were with before they became super successful.
But isn't that just, like, poor impulse control? Because all of a sudden you have way more options and temptation and you think you're hot shit. So you're like, I can do whatever I want with no consequences.
Yeah. I guess it makes me, it's kind of sad because it makes me think they were just with that person before because, like, they were just, like, settling for that maybe.
But now because they're rich and famous and other people are throwing themselves at them, they're like, this is the life they want? Is it really, though? Or are they
Probably
just getting
not.
caught up in this, like, fantasy of having a bunch of women throw themselves at me? Like, that's what I think.
Yeah, no, that all sounds
Yeah.
that doesn't sound very fulfilling. Let's put it that way. But it just makes me think that on both sides of that line of before they were famous and after, it sounds like they just didn't have an attitude towards relationships in either case in a way, It's not to excuse this sort of attitude, but it's just like, yeah, maybe you were just in a bad relationship before, and maybe you're just a shitty person who didn't attract a good partner before as well, right?
Yeah, but fame changes people in different ways. And this, like, obviously we don't have the background, so I really don't know how else maybe it's gotten to this person's head. But in this, with only the information we have, it sounds like the fame has gotten to this person's head where they think they should just have the right to be able to, you know, engage with all the women who are throwing themselves in it because you're just famous and that's how it is. And that is a subtext that happens all the time in like athlete culture, right? A culture I'm not familiar with, but you know, I hear about it on Twitter or whatever, where it's just like accepted apparently that some male athlete stars might sleep with multiple people outside of their marriages because that's just how it is. That's what happens.
You hear about this, yeah.
Yeah, and that's just pretty disappointing and sad to me that you think that you're special and exempt or exempt from consequences and that, you know, your wife isn't going to leave you because you have the money or whatever, the power, or you have the fame, and therefore you can do what you want. So I think it's an exploitation of power in a sense that I don't think is actually a good thing as a human being.
Yeah, and I kind of think it says something about the lack of like a meaningful relationship to you, that just random hooking up with random people is something you would choose to do. Tells me you just, I don't know.
Well, but it depends. Like, if you just want the lifestyle where you hook up with random people, that's fine. That's not what I'm saying. But like, you need to tell the previously dedicated wife that you have that's
okay.
you cannot have both. That's not fair.
Yeah. Have you? You're kind of famous. Are there men sliding into your DMs?
There's so many people who just throw themselves at me. They're just throwing. They're all over the table. They just left.
They were just here. I just missed them. Yeah.
I do not have people throwing themselves at me.
I guess there is like a yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's an insecurity
I mean, I
thing.
can't relate to this person's struggle because I have not had people throw themselves at me because I got famous. Oh. So I don't know. But I'm also like not fucking stupid, like, and disrespectful. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I just would not, my brain doesn't think in this way.